Hollywood has given us countless fictional heroes, larger-than-life figures who single-handedly win wars on the silver screen. Characters like John Rambo have become cultural icons, embodying the ultimate one-man army. But sometimes reality is more incredible than fiction. Meet Alva Al Chilson, a man whose quiet demeanor and slight build hid the heart of one of World War II's most formidable soldiers. His story is not one of Hollywood's special effects, but of raw courage and an unbreakable will to survive and protect his comrades. Born in 1920 in the small town of Elmdale, Kansas, Chilson's early life was shaped by the hardships of the Great Depression. His family moved to California in search of work, and young Al took on jobs as a farmhand to help make ends meet. He was no stranger to hard work, a trait that would serve him well in the years to come. In 1940, with the world teetering on the brink of war, a 20-year-old Chilson enlisted in the California National Guard. He was assigned to the 184th Infantry Regiment, unaware of the crucible that awaited him. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, Chilson's unit was federalized and began preparing for combat. In 1942, he and his fellow soldiers were shipped out to the Pacific Theater, their destination, the dense, unforgiving jungles of New Guinea. The fighting in New Guinea was brutal and relentless. American forces faced a well-entrenched and fanatical enemy, fighting not just soldiers, but the environment itself. Malaria, dysentery, and constant humidity were as dangerous as any bullet. It was in this green hell that Al Chilson's quiet determination began to forge a legend. In May 1944, during the Battle of Wacht, Chilson's company was pinned down by a heavily fortified Japanese machine gun nest. The position was strategically placed, cutting down any soldier who dared to advance. Casualties were mounting, and the advance had ground to a halt. Seeing the desperation of the situation, Chilson decided to act. On his own initiative, he crawled through the thick undergrowth, armed with only his rifle and a handful of grenades. He single-handedly flanked the enemy position, silenced the machine gun, and eliminated its crew, allowing his company to advance. For this incredible act of bravery, Al Chilson was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, the nation's second-highest military honor. But for Chilson, it was never about the medals. It was about protecting the men to his left and right. His reputation began to grow. He was no longer just Private Chilson. He was a man others looked to when things seemed hopeless. His commanders recognized his uncanny battlefield instincts and his complete lack of fear. His quiet confidence inspired those around him. Chilson's heroism was not a one-time event. Time and again, he put himself in harm's way. In another engagement, he single-handedly took out 2 more machine gun nests that had his platoon pinned down. He seemed to have a sixth sense for locating the enemy and an almost supernatural ability to survive. On another occasion, he dashed across open ground under intense fire to rescue a wounded comrade. He dragged the man to safety, saving his life while bullets whizzed past his head. But his most legendary feat was yet to come. In October 1944, during the invasion of the Philippines, Chilson's unit was part of the fierce fighting along the Zigzag Pass on the Bataan Peninsula. His company was again stalled by a seemingly impenetrable line of Japanese bunkers and pillboxes. The enemy was dug in deep, and every attempt to advance was met with a hail of gunfire. For 2 days, the battle raged with little progress. On the 3rd day, something inside Al Chilson snapped. Frustrated by the stalemate and the loss of his friends, he grabbed his bar, the Browning automatic rifle, and extra ammunition. He told his commanding officer, "I'm going to finish this." Before anyone could stop him, he charged. For the next hour, Al Chilson became a one-man army. He moved from position to position, using his rifle, grenades, and sheer audacity to systematically dismantle the Japanese defenses. When the smoke cleared, the American advance could continue. Al Chilson had single-handedly killed an estimated 40 enemy soldiers. His actions were so extraordinary, so far beyond the call of duty, that they bordered on the unbelievable. His commanding officer immediately recommended him for the Medal of Honor. The citation would describe his conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life. When the war ended, Staff Sergeant Al Chilson returned home, not to a ticker tape parade, but to the quiet life he had left behind. He was a hero, but the horrors he had witnessed left deep, invisible scars. Like many veterans of his generation, he suffered from what was then called battle fatigue, today known as PTSD. The transition to civilian life was difficult. The quiet of peacetime felt alien after years of constant adrenaline and danger. He worked a series of jobs: a logger, a construction worker, a park ranger, always seeking the solitude of the outdoors. He rarely spoke of the war, keeping his experiences locked away. Chilson married, raised a family, and lived a modest life in Washington state. For decades, his incredible story was largely unknown to the public, a footnote in the vast history of the war. He was not the type to seek fame or recognition for his actions. It wasn't until later in his life that historians and journalists rediscovered his story, bringing his heroism to a new generation. Alva Chilson passed away in 1997 at the age of 76. He was buried with full military honors. He was the real Rambo, not a muscle-bound movie star, but a quiet, unassuming man who, when faced with impossible odds, did impossible things to save the people he called brothers.